Welcome to Catherine's tutorial. In this video, we'll learn about Southern blotting technique. What are these blotting techniques? These blotting techniques will help us to identify the nucleic acid, especially to find out the particular target sequences in case of RNA, DNA and also in protein. This blotting technique is based on nucleic acid hybridization. So what is the meaning of nucleic acid hybridization? It is nothing but it is based on the complementarity or complementary base pairing. If you take the nitrogenous bases, it is adenine, thymine, guanine and cytosine. So if you take adenine, it will always pair with thymine with 2 hydrogen bonds, and guanine will always pair with cytosine with 3 hydrogen bonds. We always pair, okay. This complementary base pairing will help us to identify the target DNA sequences from the DNA sample. So this technique, Southern blotting technique, will help us to identify the DNA sequences. There are 2 more techniques known as Western blotting. Western blotting will help us to identify the proteins based on their molecular weight and also based on their charges. If you take the next one, it is known as Northern blotting. This Northern blotting will help us to identify the target RNA sequences. So to find out the target DNA sequences, we use this complementary base pairing. So this is known as nucleic acid hybridization method. Nucleic acids are nothing but DNA and RNA. So we are going to find out the target DNA sequences based on this complementary base pairing. This Southern blotting method was given by Edwin Southern in the year 1975. He identified the method of Southern blotting technique to identify the target DNA sequences. This Southern blotting technique uses the probe. So before getting into the topic, we should know what is probe. For example, GAATTC. Imagine this is my target DNA sequence. I want to find out this target DNA sequence from E. coli. So we all know this guanine always pairs with cytosine. A will pair with T and T will pair with A and G. And what I want to get it from the DNA sample. So this is my target DNA. My target DNA will form a base pair with these nitrogenous bases. So this is artificially made, and these probes are labeled with radioactive isotopes. For example, phosphorus 32 can be used, and sometimes they also use chemiluminescence, that is fluorescence. Sometimes enzymes also can be used to label the probe. So this is the probe sequence. With the help of this probe, I can able to identify my target DNA sequences. So these probes are treated with radioactive isotopes, or they are treated with chemiluminescence or enzymes to find out this particular probe, where I can able to find out the target DNA sequence from the DNA sample. So for the first step, we are going to take the DNA sample, or we are going to separate the DNA sample. For example, I have taken a DNA from E. coli. So it is going to be treated with restriction endonuclease enzyme. This enzyme is also known as molecular scissor or molecular scissor. This molecular scissor will cut the DNA into pieces. This restriction endonuclease enzyme is not going to cut the DNA sequences equally. Instead, wherever they can able to find the recognition sites, they go and cut the DNA sequences. So as a result, the DNA fragments, what I am getting after this restriction endonuclease digestion, will be of different in length. Some may be short and some may be medium and some may be long. So differential lengths of DNA sequences I can able to get as a result of this enzyme digestion. Remember, we are not going to separate, we are not going to unwind the DNA strands. We are going to cut the double-stranded structures, okay, into fragments. So I have got longer, shorter and medium length kind of fragments. The second step is I have to separate this DNA fragments based on their length. For that, I am going to use agarose gel electrophoresis method. This method will help us to separate the DNA fragments based on their length. So based on length, we are going to separate the DNA fragments. So I have prepared an agarose gel. This is an agarose gel medium. Wells here, and these wells are filled with DNA sample. These DNA samples are stained with ethidium bromide. DNA is colorless. Agar gel is also transparent. To identify the DNA sample, I am treating them with ethidium bromide. So what happens here? This side, we know the DNA is negatively charged particle. So the region where you can find wells will be of negative charge. The opposite side will be positive charge. When I apply the electric current, now this DNA samples will start to move towards the positive charge. The shorter fragments will move very fast when compared to the longer fragments, because the agar gel contains small pores. This agar gel contains small pores, so to travel through the small pores, the shorter fragments can come very fast, but the longer fragments will take time to cross the pores. So what happens here as a result? We got the DNA samples in a separated form. The longer fragments are here and the shorter fragments are here. Now to further go with the process of blotting technique, I have to separate this DNA, because I didn't unwind the DNA when I treat them with agar gel electrophoresis method. Now I have to separate the DNA sequences. Remember our target DNA sequence, it is G, A, T, T, C. I have to find out this target DNA sequence. If my probe has to go and bind here, okay, so we already prepared a probe with this complementary to this strand. So this is the probe. If I want my probe to go and attach with the target DNA sequences, this strand should be of single. If it is double stranded, the probe cannot able to go and attach with the DNA sample. Fragments of DNA should be separated into a single stranded structure. For that, I am going to treat this agar gel medium with alkaline solution. So they use mostly sodium hydroxide. This sodium hydroxide will break the hydrogen bonds between the DNA. These hydrogen bonds get broken down, and as a result I can able to get the two separate strands by means of alkaline solution digestion. Now the DNA fragments here have been separated, they become single stranded. Now I have to transfer the single stranded DNA sample into a nylon membrane. So I am going to transfer this sample into a nylon membrane, because I cannot use this agar gel medium, because agar gel medium is fragile, it is easily breakable, because it is a semi-solid structure. I cannot handle them to further go with the process. So I have to transfer them into a nylon membrane or nitrocellulose membrane. It is like a sheet of paper where it is very easy for me to handle with the next process of blotting technique. The next step is, third step, transfer of DNA sample from agar gel into nitrocellulose membrane or nylon membrane. Remember, this membrane has a positive charge. So to transfer the DNA from agar gel to a nitrocellulose membrane, I am going to use another method where I am going to keep a tray which will be filled with alkaline solution till this region. This is the alkaline solution. This alkaline solution creates a capillary pressure. Okay, what happens here? The transfer of agar gel into a nitrocellulose membrane is based on capillary action. So here I am going to keep the tray with alkaline solution at the base, and here I am going to keep a glass plate. Sometimes they use sponge also. So sponges also can be used here. So I am going to keep a glass plate. So on top of the glass plate, I am going to keep some filter papers. These filter papers will be dipped in this alkaline solution. You can able to find this dipping of this filter paper into an alkaline solution. So these tips will absorb the alkaline solution. So on top of this filter paper, I am going to keep this agar gel. I am going to transfer this agar gel using some spatula, because it's semi-solid structure. So I am going to use a spatula to transfer this agar gel with the DNA sample on top of this filter paper. This is agar gel. On top of this agar gel, I am going to keep this nylon membrane or nitrocellulose membrane, because I want to transfer the DNA from gel into nitrocellulose membrane. So this is nitrocellulose membrane. On top of this nitrocellulose membrane, I am going to keep a bunch of filter papers again. So these are the filter papers. On top of the filter papers, I am going to keep a glass plate again. Sorry, a paper towel again. So here I am going to keep a paper towel. On top of this, I am going to keep some weight. So I'm going to keep some weight. I'm going to leave the setup for some time. So after that, what happens? As I told you already, it is the movement of DNA from the agar gel into a nitrocellulose membrane is only based on the capillary action. So due to the pressure here, these alkaline solution will tend to move upward, and this movement of alkaline solution will transfer the DNA from the agar gel into a nitrocellulose membrane. So these DNA fragments from the agar gel medium will go and attach with the nitrocellulose paper. This alkaline solution will pass through this nitrocellulose membrane, but DNA will go and attach with the nitrocellulose membrane because of the affinity of this DNA sample towards this nitrocellulose membrane, because the nitrocellulose membranes are positively charged sheets and DNA is negatively charged. So DNA will go and attach with the nylon membrane. Now I can able to take a nylon membrane. My nylon membrane has got the exact sample what was present in the agar gel medium. I got the DNA sample transferred into a nylon membrane. Now I am going to treat this paper with the probe. So as I told you already, probe is nothing but the complementary pair of this particular target sequence is a probe. I am going to allow the probe to be into this nylon membrane. So what happens here? Imagine my probe is here. This is my target. Imagine my target sequence is here. This is my target DNA. If I introduce the probe into this nylon membrane, the probe will go and attach and form the complementary base pairing with this target sequence. So I can able to find out my target DNA sequence by this method. Probes can be labeled with radioactive isotopes, or I can use some fluorescent dyes, or otherwise I can use some enzymes. So by using all this labeling, I can able to find out the target DNA sequence by using Southern blotting technique. So this blotting techniques will be helpful in case of molecular biology and also in case of immunogenetics. By the next video, we'll learn about the next technique in biotechnology. Thank you.